we are CIP Group 3, and I am Joan Jordan. I'm a senior in agricultural economics, and I'm from Richmond, Indiana.
Hi, my name is Brian Martin. I'm a senior studying sales and marketing and agriculture from Chicago, Illinois.
My name is Tyler Krieg. I'm a fisheries major, and I'm from Woodburn, Indiana.
Hi, my name is Xiaozhou Fan. I'm a senior in natural resources and environmental science, and my hometown, Shanghai, China.
What many people do not realize is that 70% of Americans are considered overweight or obese. Therefore, our group wanted to study the discrimination and prejudice that people who are overweight or obese may experience in their everyday lives.
We will start off with a little background information regarding obesity in the United States. Obesity is simply too much body fat. It is classified as someone with a BMI, or body mass index, of over 30. 25 to 29.9 is considered overweight. There are many different places online that can help you roughly calculate your BMI at home, but for more accurate measurement, it is best to contact your doctor. From 1980 to 2000, obesity rates doubled to 60 million adults, or 30% of Americans. Now, an estimated 78.6 million adults are considered obese. The number of people in the US that are classified as overweight or obese can be as high as 2/3 of adults and 1/3 of children. With this trend, by 2030, 51% of people will be considered obese. These are some quite alarming statistics, so we will look at some potential reasons of why obesity has become such a problem over recent years. There are quite a lot of social trends that have changed over the past 30 to 40 years, including now kids eat 31% more calories per day, as well as 50% more fats and oils. Portions are now 2 to 5 times larger than they used to be, including sugary beverages, which averaged only about 13 ounces, and now they're average of 20 ounces. 8 to 18-year-olds now average 7.5 hours per day of using entertainment media. Only 33% of high school students get the recommended amount of physical activity for the day. Now, kids also ride places instead of walking and eat less homemade meals with smaller portion sizes. After looking at the rise of obesity in America, it is clear that it is a large contributor to many medical statistics. It is found that obesity can be related to as many as 60 chronic illnesses. Some common problems related to obesity include high blood pressure, heart disease and stroke, type 2 diabetes, trouble breathing including sleep apnea, joint problems, as well as many others. Full-time employees who are overweight or obese and have chronic health conditions miss an additional 450 million work days, which works out to be about $153 billion in lost revenue per year. Medical expenses for an obese employee is 42% higher than an employee with a healthy weight. Lastly, 1/3 of the 572,000 deaths from cancer per year can be linked to obesity, along with poor nutrition and physical inactivity.
A significant portion of our CIP project came through the Community Partners section. In this section, we reached out to the Purdue CCO, to the PUSH Student Health Center, to CAPS, and
The Student Wellness Center.
And we also did some survey work with students within the Purdue student body. Of these groups, CAPS and the Student Wellness Center did not get back to us. We actually tried really, really hard to get in touch with them, especially CAPS. We actually even went into their office and tried to set something up with them multiple times, and they were pretty adamant about not talking with us. So we thought that was interesting, and I think it points out just the sensitivity of the issue. In fact, they weren't even willing to sit down and speak with us for 25 minutes. So we did have a lot of success in speaking with the Purdue CCO and with the student body, and we'd like to share some of those results with you.
Okay, so our first interview was with Cher Yazbek, the Associate Director of Career Development at the CCO Center, And Cher sat down and talked to us, and we asked her a few general questions and just what her impression of students who might be overweight or obese when they're looking for jobs and interviewing, if this has been a factor that has affected their recruiting process. Cher shared a few things which we will show you, but she also shared a personal experience that someone interviewed her and thought she was surprised at how great her work ethic was, because their impression was that since she was overweight, that she would not be as hard of a worker. So this is a personal experience that she shared with us that we definitely learned a few things from.
So we're going to go ahead and play you a brief recording of our interview with Cher. This last question I have is, I guess, are there any steps you see that can be taken towards, alleviating or avoiding any discriminatory thoughts, feelings, or actions towards obese people in the workplace? Is there anything concrete that you think could be done?
That's a tough question, because again, broadly, looking at criteria, any employer typically that's going to come to Purdue has criteria that they're looking at, and so sticking it to that criteria and having that criteria clearly listed. So we do a lot of, my role is coaching from the student perspective, and so coaching students to be able to say clearly what they have accomplished, what they've shown from other employers is probably the best way to combat that in an interview.
Sure.
And I can share a personal experience if you want.
Absolutely.
Too. That totally different than being interviewed, but the same kind of thing that I actually, and this has probably been, I don't know, at least 15 years ago, but I was on a committee. It was a student committee, but had a faculty person on it. And after we had been working on that committee several months, and it was a diversity committee, and the faculty person came to me and said, essentially, he didn't overtly say I have a bias against obese people, but he did say that.
Wow.
And said, now I see that a committee without Cher is a committee in entropy. And he was basically saying, you're a real go-getter, you're committed, but that was not my first impression of you because you're overweight.
Really?
And that's probably one of the most overt experiences that I've ever had. That's something that would not be like an everyday conversation. It's because we were on a diversity committee together, and pretty intense conversations with the students and the faculty member and myself.
Wow. Well, that's, is, I guess, I really appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah.
It's really, that's exactly what we're getting at. If it weren't for the diversity meeting, you never would have known that these feelings were being harbored by this fellow. So that's really well. So that was Cher again, discussing a few of her reactions to our questions, as well as the personal anecdote that Jonah described. Our next line of interviews was with Push. So, kind of navigating through the organization, we found Juanita, and she works in the office of the director. So we thought that she would be a great touch point for us in the community. So our discussion with Juanita was actually very interesting. She had some very strong opinions about obesity, especially in her line of work, being in healthcare, and her understanding of where healthcare is going. She definitely provided some great insights to us. We started with more general inquiries, really just about her thoughts and feelings about obesity, and given that we were at her office, we discussed obesity in the workplace. She said that it was definitely a factor, that impacts employer-employee relations, the hiring process. She said it's absolutely in the back of her mind, and she believes it's in the back of everyone's mind, while you're dealing with people in the workplace. The one thing we thought was very interesting is she shared a personal story about how she went to South Dakota to visit her brother where he lives, and she explained how while she was there, she was just realizing how many obese people there were in her brother's town and how that affected her and how it made her feel. And so we got the vibe that Juanita, while she seemed to be a very respectful person and seemed to respect the differences that existed, she definitely had some really strong opinions about it. Clearly is affected by dealing with obese people. With the opportunity to talk to so many different people, within our community, personally, my favorite part of this was the student interview section. Throughout the semester, we had the opportunity to sit down and talk with a bunch of different students and really see what they thought about this and get involved with them. We selected, of these conversations, we selected 3 that we thought were really important to our project. We're going to share with you some videos from those conversations now that are more of a concise, wrap-up statement from each of the 3 students. It's also important that we point out that 2 of these students identified themselves as being part of this obese culture that we're studying for our project. Here are the videos.
Chris Carlin, senior, college ag. We're talking about overweight people trying to get hired, and I felt it's never been a problem for me. Being a heavier set guy myself, I haven't really felt discriminated against in any way. I don't really see it as a problem at all in any arena. I don't really think it's a big deal. I think people look at you more for your merits academically, or whether your resume is good or not, is whether you're obese or not. So I don't really see it as a problem. I think it's a non-issue.
Hey, my name's Evan Brammer. I'm a senior in the College of Agriculture. When I'm thinking about whether or not obesity is a factor in the hiring process, thinking about my personal experience, I'm joining the military. And for officer candidate school, I have to maintain a body fat of below 22%. So it is a factor in my current situation. And I think it's appropriate because you need to have like a level of physical ability and health to get through basic training and then to be in a war situation and help your people who are with you. So for that circumstance and other circumstances, like maybe a firefighter, I could see it being, where it's relevant, it makes sense to me. Where it's not relevant, I don't think it should be an issue.
Hi, I'm Andrew Huffman. I'm a senior here in the College of Ag, soon to be graduating. But being a heavier set guy in today's age of the hiring process, I do feel like there's some discrimination, especially in terms of weight or obesity. I mean, I don't think that I've had experience with it personally, but I do feel like this would be a factor of the hiring process today.
Hi, I'm the survey guy of this team, and I made a 10-question survey by the surveymonkey.com, and I dispersed the survey using social media like emails and popular apps. And the total question, I have total of 10 questions, and I got 100 responses. Okay, then I will go over some important questions one by one. And the first one is, how much do you know about obesity? And from the result, we can see over 75% people just have the common sense, and I hope this survey or this project can help them to get the idea of obesity. And next, do you consider yourself 30% people consider themselves overweight or obese, and I think this is a result of the sample population, but not the exact amount. So next one, is there anyone around you overweight, like family members and friends? The answer, like over 80% was yes. And do you think overweight discrimination exists in your community or society? And the result was over almost 60% consider it's a really problem. Then the next question is, do you think obesity will affect the ability of someone study or working? And from the answer, we can see more than 70% people believe yes, the obesity will affect your ability.
This section is our group's concluding thoughts on the issues of overweight and obesity discrimination as a whole. Based on our background information provided, as well as the overwhelming statistic that over 70% of Americans are considered overweight or obese, obesity and overweight discrimination is an important issue in America today. Second, overweight and obesity discrimination is a large problem in the workplace today. We have anecdotes as well as interviews with people that work in the employment field that show that it is present in the field. We also have the overwhelming statistic from our survey that found that over 75% of people sampled thought that being overweight or obese hindered your ability to study or work. This lends to possible discrimination issues that people that are overweight are hindered in their ability to work and therefore are lesser employees. Finally, many people do not know more than what can be considered common sense knowledge on the issue, and therefore many people are uneducated or just plain do not know about the issue at all.
Throughout the course of this project and doing some research with my group mates, I have come to the conclusion that whether you're obese or overweight certainly does impact your first impression that you give off, especially when you're going through an interview process for a job. And you know, you can be discriminated against if you are overweight or obese, because people may not think that you're healthy enough to do the task, or it really depends from industry to industry, or what the job tasks are for the position you're interviewing for, but certainly your weight can affect that. I think this is something, as Americans, we all need to, look at the person for their analytical skills and, try not to take their physical appearance into account, because oftentimes there really should not be any type of difference, in your ability to do something based on your weight or your appearance.
So this has been a wild semester. It's been, I can't believe we're already kind of at the last stop here. It's been great, getting to know my teammates and working with these guys. It's been a real pleasure. I've learned more about obesity than I ever thought I would. It's a really complex issue, and it affects the lives of so many people. So I guess I'd say I was really blind to it at first, and now I guess I'm happy I've learned what I've learned. Interacting with people from the Purdue community and the West Lafayette community has been really, really eye-opening. And I feel that the best steps we can take towards helping people who are discriminated because of their obesity is really just to take a more objective stance on things. In the workplace, compare yourself solely on merit and ability, and not physical appearance. Try your best to help these people move in the right direction and get their health back on track.
Okay, after this project, I learned how to make an online survey and to reach those people's in those diverse people population in our community, and I realized that obesity is a real problem in our community, and people don't have a lot of knowledge on it. So, and I also appreciate those people share their thoughts, and thank you.
Overall, I found this project to be an eye-opening experience. Before, I was uneducated and didn't know anything about overweight or obesity discrimination issues, and now I feel I have a much better grasp of the topic overall. I don't think it's right that people are discriminated against in this country simply because they are overweight, and people think that just because they're overweight or obese that they are lesser employees somehow, and don't judge them solely on their character or their mental prowess. Working with the group overall, I thought was great. Everybody pulled their weight, everybody did the work that was required to get this project done, and if I had the choice again, I would definitely work with this group again. They were a great group of people, and I feel did a great job getting this project completed.